Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Midnight, and in this video we will continue with the top of the best loves in indie video games. For the ones that do not know the rules of this top, I recommend you to check out the first part, where I explain them with more detail. Without further ado, welcome to the second part of the top, and let's get started. Cotrem and his wife. No one like them to prove how wrong is the phrase "you are made of stone" to refer to someone incapable of love. When Fran meets them for the first time, these two rocky lovers are living one of the most common crises of long-term relationships. One of them, the wife in this case, feels that her partner has become cold and romance has vanished from the relationship. And feeling Cotrem doesn't care much about this, she decides to leave. Nevertheless, when Fran talks to him, we can see that beyond losing the protection for his crater, he actually is hurt that his loved one left. And towards the impotence of being unable to go where she is, he turns to his last hope, to make a deal with Fran, for her to help him get his wife back in exchange for the wizard's hat. Later, when we arrive where Cotrem's now ex-wife has founded her own island, we can see that what she feels is not a lack of love for her husband, but pain for feeling he has become colder and less affectionate, missing particularly the flower that he grew for her at his base, which we can actually see before speaking to them when we travel to Autumn where it's located, although in other seasons it's there too, but still as a bud. And it's this last detail what shows us that, even though distance due to misunderstandings, there is still a deep and sincere love between them. Love that never ended, but simply needed to be nourished, which Cotrem kept doing by growing the flower, and his wife will do from now on, trusting that, even if they are not visible all the time, there are still details and romance in their marriage. Fran Bow and Mr. Midnight. From the beginning of Fran Bow, she tells that this little black cat is her best friend who she loves playing with and spending every moment. However, from one moment to the other, these two characters go from having the typical relationship between the girl and her pet to forming a really deep friendship in which it doesn't matter even if they are in different places. The connection between them never gets lost, to the point that they manage to communicate. I don't know if literally by speaking the same language or simply to perception, but they are able to transmit to each other what they think or feel, and to keep each other accompanied. And beyond their possibility to speak to each other, constantly we can notice the devotion between them, always doing whatever is necessary to help the other one, and of course, to be together again, no matter who is trying to separate them, even if that means confronting Aunt Grace, who Fran until then considered the only family she had left. Fran and her cat not only give us a wonderful adventure, but they also teach us that love and family do not need their members to speak the same language or to be of the same species to be true, solid, and strong. And that it doesn't matter if we have lost it all. Those beings that become our new family make a huge difference. Palontras, the Great Wizard, and King Sear with living beings. As we know, Idersta, or the second reality, is the realm of life, in opposition to Senercity, that is the reality of death. And besides being inhabited by beautiful beings with a passion for knowledge, one of the most gorgeous and noticeable things about their king, their doctor, and the Great Wizard is the true love they show towards living creatures for that simple fact. They are living beings and therefore capable of love. No matter if they belong to Idersta or to the other realities, well, except for Remor, but he only goes there to cause trouble. When arriving in Idersta, even as a player, you perceive a sensation of peace and harmony, product of the great care this wonderful trio puts in protecting their beings, both inhabitant and visitors, and we can see this in many examples. When Fran arrives, she practically can't say anything to Sear because he explains her that the seed will tell him everything. And past this moment, we can see how, even though he has known her barely for some minutes, Sear shows a true compassion towards the girl when learning the horrors she has lived. It's not just the typical, "oh, too bad that happened to you," but we see how, when holding the seed, his expression changes from serene to actually horrified. And in case this wasn't enough, when he finds Fran crying after seeing her alter ego stabbing Mr. Midnight, Sear approaches with the warmth of a caring relative, not only to comfort her, but also to give her one of the most beautiful definitions of what it means to be alive, to be still capable of love, after which he assures her that she will always have the strength to fight the monsters inside her mind. This, besides making Fran feel better, shows us that if Idersta is the pacific, thriving and alive realm it is, it's to a large extent due to its king and its inhabitants following his example, conducting through life from knowledge, but also from love and empathy. Regarding the Great Wizard, in spite of being a kind of hermit character living isolated in Coltrane Mountain, more than once, he shows us very beautiful facets of his personality where we can see his love for living beings too. One of them being when after performing the ritual in Omkabe, besides mentioning that the lemon is a gift from the soil, he revives the fish that Fran Bow had to fish to solve the third riddle. What better proof we want for his devotion towards all living beings than valuing everyone's lives equally? First time I played, I never thought he would have the beautiful attention of giving back the life to what, up to that moment, was a fish's corpse. On the other hand, if we try to talk to the wizard while solving the riddles, he responds to Fran that if she wanted him to do things for her, then she wouldn't be learning anything. Which of course can be taken as a little scold, but if we think about the fact that the main objective of inhabitants of Idersta is to gather knowledge, this scolding acquires a more transcendent connotation. The wizard cares about Fran learning, and this, in Idersta's philosophy, means he cares not only that she lives, but that she does it to the fullest through learning, without this last one being polluted by not letting her do things by herself. This doesn't only show the passion the wizard has for knowledge, but also that he cares about Fran. Although, if there's any doubt left about this, it gets completely cleared in one of the saddest goodbyes of the game. When Fran is about to open the portal, the wizard tells her that she doesn't have to leave, and that if she wants, he will create her a magical place to stay. And this isn't the end of it, because the only love proof, sincerer than wanting the person to stay, is in spite of this, respecting that they have or want to go. And we can't forget about Palontras, the only doctor everyone wants to visit. Same as Sear, Palontras gives Fran a warm manner from the beginning, which becomes more valuable after his explanation where we learn that, although it wasn't her intention, she put the second reality in danger when opening the portal that took her there when she was falling down the abyss. For anyone, it would have been easy to hate her or at least reject her due to this. Especially because when Palontras cries saying that he doesn't even want to think about what happened last time Remor was there, he makes it very clear that it's a serious danger that made him suffer greatly before. Nevertheless, love towards life prevails in this hairy and tender being, and for this, not only does he help Fran get a body that can move around his realm, but he also comforts her and assures her that she shouldn't feel guilty about what's happening between the realities. Apart from all of this, in another part of the game, we see that the love Palontras has for Idersta and the beings that inhabit the realm leads him to keep fighting to the point of getting severely wounded. While we don't see the interactions these three beings have with the rest of Idersta's residents, at least the game leaves very clear that they form an excellent team to maintain the realm not only protected, but also alive and happy. Fran Bow and Edward. During the game, more than once we see this kind skeleton helping our heroine, but besides the fact that his actions allow us to continue advancing in the story, the background behind them should definitely be noticed. Edward is helping Fran, possibly even risking a problem with Remor for interfering in his mission, when she doesn't even know he exists. The only purer love than the one that is in a relationship where it's corresponded is the one that prevails, even when, due to diverse factors, that loved being has forgotten you. In a scene of Fran's memory, we can see how Edward, in a playful way, although probably concealing a real desire, tells Fran the story of when she promised she would never forget him or the magic of everything, to which she later replies with a sweet and innocent laughter, repeating that same promise. However, later we see that, of course without intending to, Fran had actually forgotten Edward. We don't know if only due to growing up, or if there were other reasons, but this is when we see the beauty and sincerity of the love that Edward feels toward his friend. Because despite she can't remember him for now, and she even explicitly tells him that she won't trust him, he never stops looking after Fran's safety. And though he knows she can accomplish a lot on her own, when he sees her trapped and cornered, he always interferes to help her. On the other hand, when Fran falls in his net, which he installed to favor their encounter, although as we said, at first she says she won't trust him because she doesn't know him, and then has a pretty bad scare when Edward takes Mr. Midnight to prepare her surprise party, from this point on, somehow she starts to recover the friendship she used to have with her bony friend. Not only for the flashback where she remembers the bedtime story, but also because during her party, she shares a moment with Edward where he starts clearing all her doubts about the ultra reality and what she has lived until now. If we think of it, he is the first character to start giving her clear answers, something the other characters until then had evaded either for their own safety or to protect Fran herself. And this is one of the biggest friendship proofs. Telling the truth, even if it means unprotecting one's interests, or even making the other one vulnerable to suffer. If this wasn't enough, at the end of the game, after Fran receives the shot, Edward comes back with Palontras to rescue both the girl and her poor cat, who had been thrown down the abyss by evil Aunt Grace. This scene, at least in my case, made me shed more than one happiness tear, because beyond saving our heroines and his friend's life, who will now be able to continue with their adventure in their realities, it also means that, finally, Edward can continue to love and protect Fran, but this time being corresponded as he definitely deserves. Well, Midnighters, this was my top of the best loves in video games. Mrs. Midnight thanks you for watching and hopes this video made you have a good time. Not due to a day or to merchandise, but to those people that come to our minds when we think of celebrating love. If that was the case, don't forget to give it a thumb up, subscribe, and activate the bell so that you don't miss the next videos. Mrs. Midnight loves you, and we'll see you next time.